Hey guys, what's going on? Today we got part 2 of my death metal collection. Just vinyl this time. I already showed off all the CDs in the last video and most of the records, but I have like under 10 records left. I don't know why I just had to count right now. I feel so stupid. But anyways, we left off on Entombed, Left Hand Path, and I don't have any records in between E and M for some reason. So the first record is Malevolent Creation with Retribution. This is one of my all-time favorite death metal albums. Malevolent Creation is one of my favorite death metal bands. They don't really have the best discography, to be honest. Because their first 2 albums are flawless, and their third album is pretty good, and the rest of their stuff is just kind of eh. But this album and their debut, the Ten Commandments, are both so damn good that it makes them one of my favorite bands. If you like early Deicide, but with a little bit more of a kick to it. It's a little bit angrier sounding and less them trying to be super evil. This is a Listenable Records reissue. It's on a copper vinyl, and it sounds pretty good. The best song here by far is Slaughter of Innocence. If you haven't heard this album and you want to check it out, that is the fucking song to listen to, because if you're into death metal already, you'll be fucking hooked on that song if you don't know it already. I've listened to that song countless times. It's fucking heavy. And the iconic part with the long die motherfucker scream, it's just badass. The riffs are awesome, and the drumming's great. And my favorite aspect of this album, to be honest, is Brett Hoffman's vocals. I really like just how fucking pissed off and vile he sounds. It's awesome. But the best songs on here are Eve of the Apocalypse, Systematic Execution, Slaughter of Innocence, Iced, and Monster. So yeah, so it's Malevolent Creation with Retribution. Classic album, but it's definitely a little underrated. Not as quite as celebrated as bands like Deicide and Morbid Angel and Suffocation and Cannibal Corpse and Autopsy and Obituary and Death. I don't know why I just named like every popular death metal band ever, but this is an awesome album. Alright, so next we've got my Morbid Angel records. Of course, first, Altars of Madness. It took a while for this album to grow on me and for me to love it. I don't know why. Because I've owned this album for a pretty long time, like over a year, because I got this album last year in like March or April, I think. And I remember really liking it, but I didn't quite love it yet, because I liked, I still like the other Morbid Angel stuff more than this album. Especially Blessed Are the Sick, which I'll show next. That's my favorite, as I've said a million times. But this album is definitely a lot thrashier than the other stuff, but this is like the first death metal album that sounds like what we know as death metal today. Because if you listen to Seven Churches or Scream Bloody Gore, or the first Necrophagia album, it still sounds like just really heavy thrash metal, but it's still death metal. But with this album, it's like it has the blast beats and everything, but it's just the riffs are a little thrashy sounding. But it's fucking awesome though. Silence is an acquired taste for me, and I really don't know why. Also, the vinyl press of this actually doesn't have one song that's on the CD version, and it's not like it's a bonus track. It's in the middle of the album. The song, it's like Lord of All Fevers and Plagues or something. But this is a great pressing though. It's a FDR reissue from Earache. It sounds amazing. Got that insert. I really like that artwork. I want to get the t-shirt that has that on there. It's cool. And you have the lyrics and shit. And of course it's just a black vinyl. But this was one of the first death metal records I ever bought. And it's just really a perfect album. It's a little overrated because a lot of people say it's their best album, and I kind of disagree with that because it doesn't sound anything like the rest of their discography. They hadn't quite found their sound on this album, but it is still a 10 out of 10 flawless album. It's just the praise that it gets makes it overrated. It's not like it's not as good as people say it is. It's really good. It's just, it's not their best just because it doesn't quite sound, it's not their definitive album, is what I should say. But it is one of their best albums. It's probably my second favorite. I don't know why this insert won't get in here. But my favorite song on this album is, just put it back there, it's definitely Maze of Torment. Especially because we play it in my band, Fatal Existence. If you guys saw the videos I uploaded of our performance in front of the fucking school last week, it was really fun. You know, classic album though. Immortal Rites, Suffocation, Visions from the Dark Side, Maze of Torment, Chapel of Ghouls. Every song is just great. So yeah. And Trey Azekthos is my fucking favorite death metal guitarist. And Pete Sandoval's drumming is legendary on this album, and David Vincent's vocals, everything's just awesome. But my favorite Morbid Angel album is Blessed Are the Sick. They took what they did on Altars of Madness and they made it a lot more brutal sounding. His David Vincent's vocals got a lot more guttural on this album, and I like his vocals. I think his vocals are probably his best on here. This is one of their most evil sounding albums, and it's a little slower than Altars of Madness and less thrashy, but it's more swampy sounding, which is really cool. And a lot of people criticize this album for having a lot of songs that were written before Altars of Madness that were on their demo. Or I forgot what it's called, Abominations of Desolation, I think. But I don't even care because every song here is awesome. This album does have a lot of like interludes and shit, but I don't really mind because it kind of adds to the atmosphere here and there. Cool picture of the band in the gatefold. Another FDR reissue. I got this for Christmas not last year. Well, technically it was last year, but you know. Also, I like the label right here. Kind of weird. Cool. But the best songs in here are, of course, Fall from Grace, Brainstorm, Day of Suffering is probably my favorite song here. The fucking riff in that song in the beginning is badass. That Kingdom Come is a classic. Really punky sounding song, too. The title track is also really awesome. And you have a lot of really cool, like, Castlevania-ish sounding instrumentals and stuff on here in between some of the songs. And also, the album cover is pretty cool, too. It's like an old painting. But awesome album, though. So, let's start sick. One of my favorite death metal records ever. And my favorite Morbid Angel album. So, yeah. Next up, I've got all my Napalm Death stuff. And I know what you're thinking. Napalm Death is a grindcore band. But I'm just counting grindcore for this. Because why not? It makes the video longer. I have more stuff to show off. And it's like, it's not like I'm going to show off my grindcore record collection. Because I don't really have a lot of grindcore or listen to a whole lot of grindcore. But, you know, Napalm Death, eventually they became death metal. And they have enough death metal in their sound to be considered, well, to justify showing it off from my death metal record collection. So it's not straight up death metal because it's grindcore, but whatever. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. Then make your own collection video without showing it off in grindcore. But this is Napalm Death. It's a live album technically. Grand Madness at the BBC, Earache Peel sessions. So this was like a live thing on the radio with John Peel, and it's fucking awesome. Super underrated. You've got 3 different performances on your super underrated release. It's like even more crazy and chaotic sounding than any of the studio albums when Napalm Death was a grindcore band before they turned death metal. Although the last one is death metal. Also, there's a huge seam split because the record is super heavy. I'll show that in a minute. But you got a lot of their best songs on here, and it's on my favorite cover vinyl I own, which is it's a green and white. I don't know why I had to pause to say that. Splatter, 108 gram, sounds awesome. Yeah, this album is super heavy and chaotic, very raw, but it sounds really good. Just a fucking assault on your fucking ears. It's awesome. So yeah, the first side A has what's his face? Their Lee Dorian on vocals, I believe was the guy's name. It was probably somebody else. Like watch that be like the drummer. But side B has Barney Greenway, I think. So yeah. This is really underrated, though. If you like Napalm Death, you haven't heard this, you need to fucking check it out. It's not just some shitty compilation, it's really good. So yeah, Grand Madness at the BBC. And they also did one of these things with the same album cover, just different logo. They did one for Carcass and one for Bullet Thrower, I think. Which I need to check some of those out. But anyways, and of course we have Scum. It's probably my second or third favorite Napalm Death album. Because my favorite is From Enslavement to Obliteration, which I really need to get. So I've been planning on getting that earache repress of that for a while, so this is also an earache repress. And I really like the album cover a lot in the back. Also, does that not look like fucking Vortex of Metal? I don't know. That's kind of an inside joke. There's lyrics right here, and since it's a grindcore album and the songs are all so short, I don't know if you can see, but look how fucking close the grooves are to each other. And of course, this is known for having You Suffer, which is hilarious. But this is an awesome album, though. It's very punky and raw. It's kind of like that more Discharge, really crusty kind of style, but it's still grindcore. It has a lot of blast beats and stuff. I believe a lot of people say that Napalm Death invented the blast beat, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I like this album a lot, but I really like From Enslavement to Obliteration and Harmony Corruption, which I need to get both of those albums. And even Utopia Banished, I still need to get a lot more Napalm Death. I just don't listen to them all the time. But they are one of my favorite bands. I don't know why, I just had to be in the right mood. But yeah, so that's all I've got for Napalm Death. Next up, we got the only album I own from this band, and I don't really plan on getting any more of their stuff soon, but I do plan on getting one other album from them eventually. This is Nile with In Their Darkened Shrines. I really like Nile, but I'm not a huge fan of them because they're good, but I ought to be in the right mood, and even if I listen to this whole album, I get a little bored because the instrumental tracks are really repetitive and really fillery in my opinion, and they're super long. But their death metal songs are fucking badass. You know, super heavy, kind of blasturbation tech death, but still really cool. This is on a red vinyl. It doesn't match the album cover at all, but it's cool to have it on a color, I guess. It's probably my second favorite Nile album, though. My favorite is Annihilation of the Wicked, which is the other one I plan on getting sometimes, not entirely soon. And of course, they're known for having the lyric annotations. Strength in this record has always been hard to get in and out of the sleeve. You have the lyric annotations right there, so you know what the fuck they're singing about, since they sing about like ancient Egyptian gods and stuff like that. And there's the insert in here with what looks like the actual lyrics. It's a cool album. I don't really like the drum sound for some reason. You can't hear the snare very well when it does the blast beats. But it's cool though. Napalm, I don't know why I was about to say Napalm Death. Nile is a good band. They're just not my favorite, although they were one of the first death metal bands I got into. When it comes to tech death, I prefer the more brutal tech death stuff, like Dying Fetus and Cryptopsy and Suffocation. Also, the sleeve on this for some reason will never fit, but this is a Relapse reissue. Can't remember if I mentioned that or not. The best songs on here are The Blessed Dead, Execration Text, and they actually have a slower song here, Sarcophagus, which is cool. But yeah, not as cool. Also, that shiny logo, it's pretty neat. But yeah, like I said, I'm not the biggest Nile fan, but this is a decent album. I don't know, I just gotta be in the right mood, and the whole Egyptian thing I'm not extremely interested in. Also, this sleeve is falling apart because this record is so thick. But yeah, so that's all I got for Nile for now. Not my top priority to get the rest of their stuff, but I enjoy them. But this was probably the first death metal band I got into with like crazy blast beats and shit. After Death and Obituary, which were my first two death metal bands I got into. But anyways, so that's all I got for Nile. Next, I have the only Obituary on my own, which is so sad because I really want to get Slowly We Rot and Cause of Death. And the album after this one, World Demise, because I really like that album. It's actually kind of underrated. But I do have the Incomplete, the Metal Blade reissue. This is a really good album. It's basically Cause of Death Part 2, but it's not quite as nasty sounding. And Cause of Death is my favorite Obituary album, which I really want to get that. I'll probably have to resort to getting it on CD because Roadrunner won't repress it for some reason, which is really sad too because it's a legendary death metal album, but it's almost impossible to find on vinyl. And that one's easier to find on CD, but Slowly We Rot is kind of hard to find on CD for some reason. At least by itself, they do have that thing that has like both of the albums on two different, like a 2-disc set, which I'll probably get sometime. This is on a really smoky, kind of clear vinyl. It looks pretty cool. The production on the sound's a little muddy, but I don't really mind. But it's cleaner sounding than Cause of Death and Slowly We Rot. It's not quite as nasty. But this album is more about riffs than atmosphere. And this album really fucking brings it to the table with fucking riffs. And John Tarry's vocals are a little more higher on here and less guttural. And John Tarry's my favorite death metal vocalist, so yeah. But yeah, really awesome album though. Obituary is amazing, and one of the first death metal bands I ever got into. The best songs on here are I'm in Pain, In the End of Life, the title track, and Rotting Ways. A lot of the songs on here really blend together. You gotta pay attention to this album in order to memorize the songs. Because honestly, if you played a song from this album, I probably wouldn't be able to tell. Like, if you just played a random song off this album and told me to name it, I probably wouldn't be able to name it. But it's nice to listen to, though. It's still a kick-ass album. It's just not extremely memorable, but it should be as popular as Cause of Death and Slowly We Rot, though, in my opinion. A little underrated. Also, that cover art is badass as well. So yeah, it's a little more, I guess you could say the cover art kind of reflects the sound too, because this album is less nasty and more, like, it's more catchy, I guess, and more epic a little bit. But yeah. Alright, last death metal record I own that I have not showed off is one of my favorite death metal records I own, actually. It's Suffocation with Effigy of the Forgotten. I love the ever-living shit out of this album. It's one of my favorite death metal albums of all time, and I paid a lot for this too. This is a Listenable Records repress, and it goes for a lot. For some reason, it goes for like 40, 50 bucks, and I got it for like, I think, a little over 40, which really pisses me off because I saw on Earache's website a couple weeks ago that they're doing a repress of this, and they have the pre-orders up for like 20 bucks, which made me mad, but whatever. They're also repressing, what do you call it, the album after this, Pierce from Within, which I also really want to get that repress then. They're also repressing the Gorguts, the first two Gorguts albums, which is cool because I really like those albums. They're like back when Gorguts was more of an old school death metal band. But let me get back on topic here. This is an amazing album though, legendary, super influential. Without this album, death metal would be very different. This is pretty much the first brutal death metal album ever made. Known for having that legendary moment with the slams on Legion of Inveracity, which is my favorite Suffocation song. Green vinyl. Sounds awesome. I listen to this album so often. And it's just perfect, you know. A lot of blast beats. Terrence Hobbs is one of my favorite death metal guitarists. And fucking Frank Mullen really kills it on vocals. The drumming's awesome. It's just a badass album. It's super fucking heavy. And the sleeve is super thick for some reason. Not sleeve, insert. It's really thick. And yeah, Suffocation is just a legendary fucking band. And they really just have a very pummeling sound that has aged very well. A lot of death metal records, like more old school ones, you hear people say, oh yeah, this was like the fucking, like, you hear people say, like, I don't know, Altars of Madness was the fucking most brutal, uncompromising album back in, you know, back in my day. And it's like, you listen to it now, it's like, yeah, it's still pretty fucking heavy, but it's not the heaviest thing out there. But, like, bands like Suffocation aged really well. Like, this album still can fucking kick your ass today. And it's super influential. Without this, you wouldn't have a lot of tech death. You wouldn't have a lot of brutal death. You wouldn't have even some slam, which is actually kind of funny. Somebody did a remix of this entire album on, not a remix, but like a fan remaster of this album on YouTube and gave it, like, slam-style production, which is kind of hilarious. It sounded kind of shitty because it didn't quite work with the album, but it was just funny. Definitely check that out if you're interested. It's not great, but it's funny though. It's just kind of a novelty thing. Also, that dent right there pisses me off. I love this album so much though, and the album cover's cool. There's actually a shirt I really want to get that has that on there. But yeah, so that's my entire death metal collection of CD and vinyl. So yeah, that's it. I want to do more collection stuff. Maybe I'll redo hardcore punk, or I'll do thrash metal, or traditional metal. I don't know, because I did a couple collection videos last summer of my entire vinyl collection, and of, like, for specific genres, like just thrash metal, or maybe I'll do just thrash metal next. I don't know. But yeah, that's it for this video, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. See you later. Bye.